So this is Travis and Robbie, and they're in Salt Lake. And you've been running this business for 4 or 5 years, kind of started as a side hustle. And Robbie was in financial services, and then got sick of that for one reason or another, moved into construction, working at a general contractor. And then you guys kind of teamed up. And now you're running this business as like a partnership together. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Nice. And are you both full-time on this at this point?
Not currently. That's the goal, though. We want to try to be doing
Okay.
full-time probably within 6 months, if not sooner.
Yeah, and the thing you want to balance being in Salt Lake, you got a similar climate to us, so you'll just want to know that I would plan on nothing in November and December. Just
Yep.
just nothing at all. January, you can bring in income and make money because you can go and hustle out knocking doors, and you can sell jobs in January to paint in March and April, and take the deposits as your income. So January is fine, but you just so you know to balance that. So Robbie was telling me that a couple of the topics I know you guys got some things you want to talk about.
Absolutely. So gross for the whole year, we're tracking to be just over about 100,000 at this point. And our subs, we kind of just followed what you said. We just split it 50-50 with them. And this is honestly my biggest struggle, right? Because I was the sub all the other guys were looking for. I was the super cheap guy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of this mental shift of saying, hey, I can no longer charge $1.75 for one tone for me to do it personally. I need to up that and be able to split it 50-50.
Yeah.
And so the climate in Utah is, obviously very similar to Denver. Some of the things, like I've done some investigative, right, quotations, like where I'll reach out to other painting companies and just kind of gauge what they charge on a 1, 2, 3 tone, whatever, to get a good scale. And I know it's super high level, but my struggle is like, hey, if they're coming in at $1.75 for a company to come and do a one tone, how is it realistic to find a sub who can do a good job for half of that, plus have them have, half decent material? Or is it just a mindset saying, hey, look, maybe 50% on the one tones isn't really realistic because they're, for whatever reasons, and every job's a little bit different. You want to make sure, hey, maybe the 30% on the one tone's a little bit more realistic. So, but like the 2 and 3 tones, maybe you can bump up those prices because they're more complex. Like I'm having this hard time shifting the bidding mindset because like I've got this mindset of like, hey, maybe I'd rather take 3 jobs where I'm making 30% and then not that I can't say I can go out and win them because I'm in sales in my day job, but like not that I can't go win 3 other jobs at a higher price. I just need some more confirmation from someone who's already done it. Does that make sense? Like I need that mental mind shift to go in there and do it.
Yeah, and there's a couple of ways you can make that mental mind shift. One is you can do it the hard way. You can just feel the pain of working really, really hard to build $1 million company and make no money because you aren't charging enough. And just be like, wow, that's total BS. Eric was right. I do need to charge more because there's a lot of overhead and I'm taking all the risk and there's a lot more expenses that add up. And for me to have good quality guys delivering a good quality product and me to make money for all the work and sweat and tears I put into this to build this, that is what I need to charge. So that's one way to have that mental shift.
Yeah.
Is just kind of slowly keep getting burned until it hurts enough to make the change, So, and that's
where we're at right now.
Yeah. So, that's one way you can do it. So I'll just tell you kind of how I look at this. The first thing is you got to understand I don't usually talk about this, but you got to understand the way your brain works. And are you familiar with cognitive dissonance? It's basically like you see what you've always seen and there's things you don't see. And so you're kind of in that world. So you're just like looking through that lens and I'm just over here looking through my lens and we see we're literally looking at the same thing, seeing 2 different things. And so I'll give you my kind of perspective on this. First of all, bidding per square foot is insane to me. It can't be accurate because I can show you a house that's 1,500 square feet and I can show you another house that's 1,500 square feet that are very different projects. So I don't look at it for square footage is the first thing, just, to get that out of the way. That doesn't really address your question in any way whatsoever. But I just got to say that because it always blows my mind how this whole industry operates on square footage. And I'm like, what do you mean per square foot? Like, it depends on the intricacy, the details, the cuts, the coverage. That it's not a per square foot thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big companies have to charge the most, and they can't be big companies if they're not delivering quality work. So the companies that are winning the most business have to be the highest price, and it has to be quality work. Why? Because they have to charge the most, because if you're delivering to this many people, all these people, you have to have the overhead that it takes to deliver volume. You have to have the marketing budget that is required to bring in that much volume. And then, yeah, you got to have all the other overhead to deliver it. Your insurance rates go up, your workers' comp rates go up, your unemployment insurance rates go up. You got to have an office, that goes up. Then you have to have a more expensive bookkeeper and accounting team, that goes up. And then you've got branding, and then you've got unexpected things. And, that's all that. So you have to be charging the most if you're the biggest company. But if you're the biggest company and you're not delivering quality work, you're going to be doing tons of jobs, more than anybody else out there. And if you're delivering poor quality work, you're going to get bad reviews faster than anybody else out there too. And then you wouldn't be the biggest company anymore, because you can't generate business when your reputation sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is, if I want to be a big business, I just got to operate like one. And I've got to have money for marketing. I've got to have money for overhead. I've just got to have that. So you've got to kind of set aside like the world you've been in. You've kind of been in this world where it's like, I charge this to get this job. How could I just double my price? Well, look, you might be going after different customers to play this game. Some of the, he was mentioning to me, you've got a lot of old contacts, a lot of word of mouth, and a lot of people you've done business with in real estate and all that kind of stuff. Well, they might not be your customer anymore. They might be perfect for what you've done, but they might be not a match for what you're doing now. Like, look, I got to focus on building my business the way I want to build it, and solving whatever problem is in the way to build it the way I want to build it. So I know that I need 50%. In fact, I think I need more than that now that my company's gotten a lot bigger. I think I need to be at like 46 to do a sub. So I know I need that. I know that this is where I need a price, but I also know I want to have really good guys. And I know I need to pay a certain amount to get good guys. I know that that's got to be 46%. I know I got to sell here, but I also can't be totally pricing myself out. So I can't get worked by my subs. So I've got to dictate, hey, I know this is a good bid. I know how long this takes. I know if you're efficient, you can make really good money at this number. I'm going to keep you busy all year so I can keep good subs, because I keep them busy all year. I know they can make good money. I treat them well. I'm organized. We're a good company to work for, and we try to be the best company to work for, because that's how we get the best subs. For me to have that, I've got to charge a certain price. Now you've got the problem of, okay, well, what if you're higher than everybody? Yeah, well, that's the price I need to build a business I'm trying to build, which is one that delivers great work and is profitable and big. So I need to be a value creator. I've got to deliver more value to clients than other people do. I've got to deliver more value to subs than other people do. And that's the name of the game. So I found that, sales, you guys, you're in sales, so you know that it's a sales game largely on this. And if, we're doing a lot of networking with property managers and real estate agents right now, and some of them don't want to pay our prices. We're like, okay, that's fine. I get it, because I know we're not the lowest price, but I don't need to win everybody's business. I just got to spend 5 to 7% on marketing whenever I spend money on marketing. And then I got to figure out how to spend a few $100,000 a year on marketing, and we'll do 6 or 7 million. So we just kind of keep testing that. So it's like, it's just coming from a different thing. You're kind of like, hey, this is the world I've been in. So how do I build from here to there?
Yeah.
I'm saying just scrap that old world. It's like, cool, I use that world to gain painting experience. Now let's set that aside, and now let's just go where we're trying to go.
Yeah. So would you, well, not to jump in. So like on the interior square footage, it kind of is what it is. and I know you've already mentioned in your course multiple times that you go in and try to do it per hour. Like that's probably the most efficient way to do it, right? But for interior, what's a typical process? Do you go in with a square footage price just because that's what the clients are, or are you changing them saying, hey, look, here's the price, here's what you're getting in the scope, and then just selling them on that and taking the square footage price out of it and completely?
Yeah, I've never delivered a square footage price in my life, even on commercial bids or new construction bids. We say, here's our price. And if they say, well, what is that per square footage? I'd go, I don't know. What's the square footage divided out? That's the price per square foot. But I don't bid per square foot, because if I've got a 2,000 square foot house that's a box with the same color trim as wall as ceiling versus a 2,000 square foot house that's broken up into 17 rooms because there's freaking walls everywhere, it's got crown molding and 2-color trim and different colored ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
That we're talking about a 5x difference in price, but it's the same square footage. So I would just make that argument to someone and say, look, I just don't do square footage. I can't do square footage. What I can do is I can come up and tell you what the price will be, and we can divide it out and turn it into a square foot price. But anybody who's telling you square footage, they're not being as accurate as they could be.
So like, as we're kind of getting familiar with like kind of going to an hour shift for the bids or for the subs, did you take your subs in first to kind of get their gauge of saying like, hey, like, do you pay your subs based out on square footage? Do you pay your subs based out on hours, or how does that work for them as well?
We bid following the formulas in the course, and then we pay them 50%.
Okay.
That's literally the whole story. Now, so there's just nothing more complicated than that. Like that, based on those formulas, when we follow them, we find that we can pay 50% and get great guys who make great money. And if you can't get guys and people are constantly bitching about that price point, most of the time it's how people are presenting it. Like you're asking them like, well, can you do it for this? No, it's, this is what I can pay you. Do you want it? Yeah. So it's not an open negotiation, and I'm not asking them for a bid. I'm saying, I've got work that'll keep you busy till October. I'll pay you the day it's done. I'll treat you well. We're organizing on top of our game. Obviously, you need to make good money, and so do I. So I'm going to send you a picture of a job and tell you what I can afford to pay you on it. And you tell me if you think you can make money. And if you can, we'll do a job together. If it goes good, we'll do another. If it goes good, we'll do another. Once we've done a few jobs together, I'll keep you busy till October. And then I send them a text. I say, hey, here's a job. Here's what I can pay you. You want it? You think you can make good money on this? And they're like, yeah, I think I can. So it's almost like, as opposed to, see, that's almost like psychologically, that's like me challenging them like, hey man, $2,000, you think you can make money on this? As opposed to being like, hey, here's a house. What can you do it for? They're always going to give you a higher price.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And that's just like a total mind shift, right? And it's hard for me because, like you said, my whole life of painting, my whole 5 years, right, has been square footage, square footage, square footage, square footage. And like, it's really hard to get like these base square footage prices. So I just need to go in hours, follow the course, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I would do if you want to kind of do what I've been teaching, then yeah, I would follow that path and just not worry about. You use your stuff, but don't be anchored by what you've learned.
Yeah.
Just use it. There's another part of your question that I didn't answer.
Yeah, so when you're paying out your subs, like that was the biggest thing is like, are you breaking it down per square footage for the subs? And you answered that. Do you have anything else? I jumped off you. Like, I know you had a question as well.
So, I mean, in this case where, we are still very small, relatively speaking, does it make sense to set up some sort of ramp up? Because, now we don't require the profit margins that we will at 1 million, profit or whatever it is. So does it make sense to start out with smaller profit margins to capture the business and then ramp up in 6 months, a year from now, as the company grows and we require, more team or more,
overhead, whatever
tech
the cost
or whatever
it
is. Yeah.
Two things. Yeah. Yes, do that, but don't hire a team member until you've got your margin straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, sure, bring on a sub at 60%. and charge a customer. So normally, like if you walk into a bid and my numbers say this is 3,200, just know that 1,600 is a fair price on that. Okay, so now that you know that, you're like, okay, so I could pay someone, 1,800, and I could charge this client 2,800, and we've got $1,000 profit built into this still. And you could do that to get the ball rolling. And so you could start at bringing the price down by 10%, paying them 10% more, and reducing that margin to more like 30%, and then start wiggling both directions as you get more confidence in your prices and you like that. And then you start getting more confidence with subcontractors, you start bringing that down. So then you're going to get to this point where you're at like 3,200, 1,600, where you're supposed to be. And then what's going to happen is you're going to start having contractors ask for more money on jobs. And
yeah, we're already experiencing it. Yeah, we're already going through that.
And what you do is you do not negotiate. Yeah. I have a no negotiation policy. So if I come to Travis and I say, Travis, you're one of my subcontractors, I say, hey man, got this job, it's 50, I could pay you 1,500 for it. And you're like, dude, this job's underbid. There's way too much prep on this house. I need at least 1,900 bucks. I'd say, okay, cool, man. I can't negotiate with you on this. I can pay you 15, no worries. I'll get you another job. And then I go to Robbie and I say, hey, Robbie, I've got this job. I can pay you 1,900 on it. So I'm always the one dictating the price.
Yeah.
I'm never going to cave to a negotiation, because if I give Travis that 1,900 he asked for, then every job, whether it's underbid or not, he's asking me for
money. I know.
He knows he's got me. And so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to make him sit on the couch for a couple days and not have a job because he asked for more money. And I'll give Robbie the job at that price. Or maybe I'll try to have Robbie do it for 1,500 too. And if he also denies, then I'll say 19. And then I will know, okay, this job I underbid. So that's how I know. And then I tweak. So we actually did that. We had 2 jobs last week that we had to pay an extra 700 bucks on. They were both because the bottom side of the siding was peeling really, really bad across 2 full sides of the house. There was about 15 hours of prep bid for these houses. There should have been 35. So the job was underbid by about 1,100, 1,200 bucks, which if we had bid it for 1,100 or 1,200, we would add an extra 550 or 600 to pay the sub. They wouldn't have asked for more money, but they both asked for more money. So we said, okay, cool. We're paying them go to the next guy, pay it to him, and change our estimating. And we reset expectations with our sales team. Hey, when underside of siding is peeling, this is how you bid that. And we're always tweaking. So we're still learning. I'm not a hard ass. I'm still going to pay out the fair price. I just cannot get into a game where my subcontractors are dictating prices to me, because it's nothing against them. They're fantastic people. They're smart by trying to get more money out of me. But if they get more money out of me and I know I need 50% margins, the person who's getting hit with that is my customers.